Hey everyone. Alright, so when the chapter started out with the flashback to Kobe and Helmeppo's days training with Garp, I kind of feared the worst, not just for Garp, but for everyone involved. And while those fears did partially come to pass, it is when Garp gives out what are effectively his final orders, where I couldn't help but kind of smile at what Oda was doing, as giving Kobe the order to destroy the hand of the island and just to get everyone off the island could have only meant one thing, as we come to find out almost immediately after that, much like Aokiji before him, Kobe had been training on the battleship bags. And while I don't want to deep dive into comparisons and strength between the two, just the image of Kobe shattering the arm combined with Garp laughing as he's being frozen by Aokiji is just the perfect kind of imagery to showcase that even if Kobe still has a little ways left to go before being on the level of the big dogs, this was still proof enough beyond the shadow of a doubt to Garp that he's willing to trust everything to Kobe as his successor. That all that Garp's ever taught him, all that Kobe's learned for himself, they are all things that has made him the Marine today, and it's and they make it to where, yes, we finally do get like that sort of confirmation that that Kobe's dream is attainable now. He does have the strength, he does have the will in order to become an admiral. He can become the kind of Marine he has set himself out to be, and the kind of Marine he wants to be. It's enough for Garp to die with a smile on his face, knowing he can entrust everything to Kobe as they make their escape, with Garp's final orders being to leave him behind, in trusting the future of the Marines to Kobe, to Helmeppo, and all the other, to Kobe, Helmeppo, and every other Marine he's fought alongside in this battle. And with that being said, yeah, let's talk about Garp's fate at the end of the chapter, because within the narration boxes, it said that Garp had disappeared. Not reported dead, but disappeared. And the thing is, while I'm 80% sure Garp is gonna might die maybe at some point after this chapter, this is still kind of Oda's golden rule in action of no body, no death. And this is one of those times where I wish Oda had fully committed to the idea of killing Garp rather than just leaving it open-ended. But at the same time, this is possibly Oda putting another piece on the board to set up for the inevitable confrontation between Luffy and Blackbeard. In fact, I'd almost bet money that this is setting up for a Luffy and Kobe confronting Blackbeard scenario even more, and just to kind of mirror the same way Garp and Roger fought Rocks, because it is true that after this chapter, like I said, it's more than obvious that Kobe is this generation's Garp, and Luffy is this generation's Roger. And like, of course, with Blackbeard at the helm of it all, yeah, he's basically Rocks. So like, it's gonna be where I think everything is gonna be thrown at, where everything that's being built up, it's gonna be a total repeat of what happened all those years ago with Rocks. Like, that's basically, I think, this chapter is almost confirmation in my mind that yeah, everything is being set up for Blackbeard to become the new Rocks, this big threat that the world needs to throw everything at. With that being said, though, yeah, let's talk about Luffy for a bit, because even though he didn't make an actual appearance, the narration at the end of the chapter says that following the events that happened on Pirate Island, Luffy began to barricade himself with an egghead. So my question is, what triggered this? Because even with the Navy ships approaching the island, and even with Jay Garcia on board, like, barricading himself in the island is not Luffy's typical MO. It's just not Luffy's typical behavior. Usually, like always, as we know, he'd rush out there and take the Navy head on, and literally and that's the other thing about this part of the chapter. Literally, the last time we saw him was fighting back the Seraphim. So that just begs the question: what changed within the last handful of chapters on Egghead? What is it that motivates Luffy in order to barricade himself? Like, what was the big turning point that happened on Egghead that said, okay, we have to just barricade ourselves, we have to defend ourselves from the oncoming Navy, because at this point, like, I think it's fair to say that the whole plan of escape, I think the one thing I know for certainty is that the whole plan of escape probably went to shit somehow. And if I had to expand upon that even further, on top of like the whole escape plan going to shit, if I also did have to take an educated guess as well, I think this is also something also happened that either have to do with Bonnie or with Vegapunk or both that forced the whole situation on Egghead to what it reportedly is now, which again also directly affected the Straw Hats and just forced the situation to shift gears. Again, like the fact that they've had to barricade themselves within the island says to me the escape plan just went to complete shit for the Straw Hats. I think some managed to get off the island, but I think the Straw Hats, Bonnie and probably Vegapunk are probably stuck on this island, and now it's just them needing to hold out and defend themselves, I think, at this point. My biggest question as well with this is whatever happened on Egghead, how does Lucci and Kaku fit into this scenario? Because that's the thing. Before things shifted with Kobe, Aokiji, and the Blackbeard Pirates, everything on Egghead was left in limbo. And so all that I'm saying right now is only me making cursory observations about what might be going on here. And the fact that Oda's on break now just makes this even more of an infuriating ending. In fact, I think this is the most blue-balled I felt reading a One Piece chapter. Like, legitimately, this chapter did kind of piss me off a little bit in some respects. Like, really, Oda, you're going on break and you're leaving us like that? Okay then. Okay, circling back to the Pirate Island and Garp's flashback side of things, though, I do like how Garp's unconventional lesson about saving the child and leaving the old man behind kinda works. It's a lesson that kind of works on multiple levels, because obviously while the flashback was referring to Garp making the sacrifice play to save his subordinates, and as he said, the future of the Navy, like Kobe, Helmeppo, all of them, they are the ones who will craft the Navy into what it will become in the future. And so it's like that whole passing the torch on the next generation thing. But in that respect, I do also kind of like how Kobe took something away from that lesson as well, as he resolved himself to also make the sacrifice play in order to save the captured comrades, full well knowing he had a 5-star bounty. And now it's come full circle with Garp making that same sacrifice in order to save Kobe, so he could save the captives and get them off the island. It's one of those things that once again really hammers home the idea that I think from the very moment he met Kobe, Garp saw so much of himself in him and resolved from that point to train him, and now Kobe is the one carrying the torch of Garp's legacy, of the legacy that Garp's left to him. This is all the start of Kobe becoming this generation's version of Garp. And one thing I do gotta give Oda credit for is how seamless he made this transition work, because there are times when you have those passing of the torch moments where, don't get me wrong, it is good, it is great, but it can also feel a little rushed or a little forced in some moments. And although Kobe's actual appearances in the series have been quite spaced out compared to Luffy's, obviously, it is interesting to see just how natural Oda did make Kobe's progression feel, to the point where him now carrying Garp's torch just feels like the most natural progression for the character, and just it feels like the natural next step for Kobe's character to take, I guess you could say. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much all I got for this review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe, come on Twitter, Analyst, Principal, be sure to hit the notification bell, hit the subscribe button, and just share the video around, guys. Dark Knight Runway, signing off. Later, everyone.